I went to Syracuse University. As soon as I got there, I went out for the cross-country team. I was 5th in the cross-country team, walked on, and then went out for wrestling. Wrestled pretty well. Senior year, Syracuse University, we won the Easterns that year, went undefeated, and then we took 4th in the Nationals. So there I started. At that point, as I'm coming out of Syracuse University, and they're saying to me, I'm saying to myself, what's next? All I know is I wanted to keep wrestling. So I decided to take a job in New York City. So I went to New York City, I took a job as an accountant. I have an accounting degree now, having graduated from Syracuse. I took a job with General Electric and tried to figure out how do I get to the New York Athletic Club. Well, it so happened one of the fellows in my program's father was a member of the AC and he was involved in the wrestling program. So he brought me to the club. And I will never forget this. I walked in the door that day and everybody looked up to me as I went to the wrestling practice and they said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I want to wrestle for the New York Athletic Club." And they said, "What gives you a right? Have you ever beaten a New York AC wrestler?" And I looked around the room and there's a guy there named Chick Morano who had won the national Grecos and freestyles. I had beat him that year at the Wilkes, and when I pointed to him and said, "I beat that guy over there," you could see a carpet roll out. I became a member of the New York Athletic Club wrestling team that day, and I've been there ever since. And this was back in 1964. Now my chairman, wrestling chairman at the time, was Bill Farrell. Bill Farrell sort of designated me as captain. I oversaw a lot of the things that he had been doing, but it was now my job to do it with the club, so I really did. Bill went on to be president of the New York Athletic Club, and after I had been captain for 10 years of the wrestling team, Bill asked me to be the wrestling chairman. That was 33 years ago. I took over the chairmanship 1977 and was chairman up until 2 years ago when I retired. My first year, 1977, Stan Desick was world champion representing the New York Athletic Club. I was very proud. And my part of that whole thing was I was sort of his administrator. I made sure the doors were open for Stan. We found ways where he could train the way he wanted. We got him to where he needed to compete. And I helped him become a world champion. I'm sure he'll agree with that. And since then, we put up 23 Olympians. We had, I believe, 4 Olympic champions, one silver medalist, 1 bronze. I had something close to 73 guys make the world team. I think, I'm trying to think now, it goes back to like 17 gold medals, 13 silver and a couple bronze. But these are the guys that wrestled for the New York Athletic Club that we provided the opportunity to go ahead. And what the New York AC is saying, go get the best wrestlers and take them to their potential. And that's all they're really saying, take them to their potential. In many cases, the potential means Olympians, right? And if it doesn't mean it, that's okay. We can work them to the best they can possibly be.
Sonny Greenhalgh was instrumental to the success of the New York Athletic Club wrestling program. He was the wrestling chairman for the whole time I competed for him for over 18 years. I really owe a lot of my success to Sonny. He mentored me, he coached me, he supported me. Most likely I never would have been able to win the 13 World Olympic medals without Sonny's support, his encouragement in those times when you're down after a big defeat, picking you up, keeping you moving. Not only did he become instrumental in my success, but literally hundreds of men and women that have wrestled for the New York Athletic Club owe an awful lot to Sonny Greenhalgh.
We were very strong in freestyle, but we had a few Greco-Roman wrestlers here and there. But as time went on, I was realizing how, to me, Greco was growing. So during the mid to late 80s, I had picked up some Greco wrestlers, worked with Joe DeMeo, as everybody knows, and we put together a Greco team at the New York AC. There was a top Greco team for many, many years. When the USA won the Greco World Championships, that year, of the 7 weight classes, 5 of those wrestlers were New York AC wrestlers. 10 years ago, the woman came to light. What was happening there, you could see the woman come in, they wanted to wrestle. It was declared now a sport in the world, and it was on its way to being a sport in the Olympics. So we joined that also. And we picked up some very good wrestlers. And when I say picked up, Christy Morano, who's now Christy Davis, right? We picked her up and she became world champion. A very tough girl. My wife, Susan, she's been the biggest supporter of my wrestling efforts. She's allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do with wrestling, to be there to help everybody, to do what I wanted to do, to accomplish things that really meant a lot of times that she would be sitting home. And my kids also, all three of them. They're right there behind me. They understand what wrestling's all about. So I'm a pretty lucky guy in that respect, to tell you the truth. I know guys on the grassroots level that worked every bit as hard as I have. I know guys on the college level that work every bit as hard as I have. And I'm the lucky one to be able to be voted into the Hall of Fame. But I'm accepting that trophy for all of those guys. And I tell everyone, every time I run into them, I tell them that now. That's exactly why I'm accepting this thing, because I'm doing what you guys are doing. I'm just lucky enough to have been seen and have been voted on.